Good morning, beloved. Today, as we celebrate this memorial for Mary, Mother of the Church, we have, of course, the passage when Jesus makes her our mother, and he assigns her to be kept and watched and guarded by his beloved disciple John. There's two things, and from our passage today, we can pull out that the church wants us to get. The first just comes from the overarching theme of John in general. We know that John, we always notice in the book of John that John refers to himself as the beloved disciple. He never refers to himself as John, right? And so one of the reasons here is because one of the things he's trying to teach us is to begin to learn to recognize ourselves as beloved disciples, to identify ourselves as the beloved disciple of Jesus. Sometimes takes a lot of healing in our hearts to realize that we are beloved by God, that God really loves us, to put our trust in his love for us. I call you beloved, not because you're my beloved. You're not my beloved. I love you, but you're not my beloved. You're God's beloved, huh? I'm copying Peter, I'm copying Paul, I'm copying John when they begin their letters and say, beloved. They're calling us God's beloved too. This is part of our core identity that we always have to be reminded of. So that's why I do it too, reminding myself too. I'm God's beloved. I have to remind myself, God loves me, even though sometimes it hurts. And so this is the first priority of the book of John, is to begin to identify ourselves, to let our core identity, our hearts be healed in such a way that we can identify ourselves as the beloved disciple. I am a beloved disciple. And just pulling from our scripture today, then, we see the next thing. Not only are we beloved disciples of God, but Jesus gives us his own mother. So we're kind of, when we enter the family of God, we're born again into the family of God. And so we need a mother, to raise us up in the family of God. And Mary, as the archetype of the church, becomes our visible mother, this mystical mother that we all have and share together. The mother of Jesus is our mother too, and we have to do as Jesus commanded John to do, and as John did. He says, from that hour, the beloved disciple took her into his home. Have you and I taken Mary into our home, into our physical home, into the home of our hearts, into the home of our lives? Have we made her, in a conscious way, our mother? The mother basically runs the house, huh? Do we let Mary run our house, our physical house, the house of our hearts, the house of our souls? Do we let her help us clean the house sometimes? Do we let her, what do mothers do best? They open their arms and welcome you in. They nourish you, feed you, build you up, get you fat and happy, send you back out. Do we let Mary do that to us, Nourish us, care for us, strengthen us, welcome us in, hold us when we're hurting, strengthen us, and then send us back out into the world to do whatever he tells you to do, right? To do whatever Jesus tells you to do. We need Mary to be our conscious mother. John Paul II did this, right? We know after his mom died, he kneeled down before an image of the Blessed Virgin Mary and said, okay, Mary, you must be my mother now. We don't have to wait for our mothers to die before we do this. Sit with her for a moment and say, okay, Mary, you've got to be my mother now. And so we celebrate on Mother's Day. We celebrate Mary too, And that's why we celebrate all these days of Mary. Her birthday, her presentation day, her dedication day, the Annunciation of Gabriel to Mary Day. She's our mother. But we have to consciously turn to her. There was, after my mother died, I copied John Paulis II, did the same thing, said, okay, Mary, you got to be my mother now. And shortly after that, I got sick with whatever. Probably wasn't that bad, I'm just a big whiner, so. And I remember laying down just feeling miserable, and I said, Mary, you got to take care of me. My mom would take care of me right now. She'd put a cool towel on my head or something and make me feel better. And I passed out for a little nap and woke up, and I was perfectly fine. Felt perfect. No aches, no pains, no fever. I said, man, that's a good mother, And then a couple weeks later, I got sick again. I tried it again. It didn't work. I said, all right, it's not magic, right? But Mary really does take care of us the more we just entrust our lives to her. And it's so important that we do what Jesus said. First that we do what John is saying and trying to help us identify that I am a beloved disciple of Jesus. And if we have a hard time with that, then we say, Mary, what else is a mother's job except to love her children? So Mary, help me receive the love of the Father. Help me to learn to be loved. Help me learn to be the beloved. And then we have to consciously have a definitive moment in our lives when we take Mary into our home and keep her in our home. And that means we live family life together with her. It doesn't matter if we have a family, if we're living single, bachelor, bachelorette, in the dorms at school, Mary's in this home. Mary lives here with me. And to help, we need visible reminders, Picture, statue, the rosary. Mary is present here with me. And she is running this home. And that will help us with a lot of temptation trouble, maybe, Keeping our eyes focused on Mary, who is always pointing us to Jesus, and Jesus, who is always pointing us to his Father. So today, if you haven't already, then I just encourage you to take a moment in silence here in the Mass and definitively invite Mary to come into your household, into your home, to be your mother and to run the house of your physical house and the house of your soul, the house of your whole family.